You don't need me to tell you the topic of tariffs has consumed the nation these last few weeks. But even with the 90-day pause, we wanted to know, how will the remaining 10% universal tariff plus the 25% tariff on automotive, steel and aluminum affect our local businesses? I'm 7 News consumer anchor Diane Lee with a candid look at why some of the major players in our area say the tariffs will shake the foundation of the upstate economy. New construction at every turn, an inland port stocked high with products, and $10 billion annually in exports from BMW alone. That's been the economic pulse in the upstate in recent years. But will it stay that way?
I'm going to show you. This is my tariff file.
Spartanburg Councilman David Britt spoke before a congressional committee when the first Trump administration rolled out tariffs in 2018, concerned about what a trade war would do to upstate industries. Today, this lifelong Republican says the 10% universal tariff and 25% tariffs on auto, steel, and aluminum could lead to a sagging local economy and job losses in the upstate.
The golden goose in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and the United States is business and industry. Don't kill it. And that's what tariffs will do. They will kill the golden goose. And that's what worries me to death.
Britt, who works for the concrete contractor Tyndall, says in 2018, the first 25% tariff on steel hurt their business.
The United States steel manufacturers did not increase their efficiencies, and they didn't buy new equipment. They just raised their prices just under what the foreign steel prices were.
The upstate construction industry, which has been booming in recent years, is now bracing for the higher costs of steel, aluminum, and lumber. Todd Horn, president of Clayton Construction Company, also says the uncertainty of the future of tariffs can lead to paralysis. Are you concerned the tariffs will hurt the industry?
Yes, I mean, I think there's certainly a concern that it could hurt the industry, and we could see a slowdown in our business, and obviously that would affect, anything from costs to timelines to workforce.
But perhaps the hardest hit industry by the new tariffs is also the largest in our area, automotive. BMW and its suppliers are responsible for 66,000 jobs in South Carolina. In a statement, BMW told 7 News in part, we should be discussing reducing trade barriers rather than creating more, and noted its contribution to the American economy as the largest auto exporter from the U.S. by value over the past decade. Domestic car makers aren't shielded either, with Stellantis the first nationwide to announce layoffs. Amit Patel, the general manager of Spartanburg Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, stocked up on inventory before tariffs took effect.
Luckily, all the vehicles that we currently have on the ground aren't affected by the tariffs. I would say that if somebody's in the market for a car in the next 6 months or so, I would go ahead and try to move that timeline up. That way you could save the most amount of money.
Still, Patel says if the tariffs remain, he expects 10 to 15% increases on domestic cars later this year simply because of all the parts made elsewhere. Even small businesses on Main Street say these tariffs have hit closer to home than the round imposed under the first Trump administration. The difference, high inflation leading to paper-thin margins. If the past is any indication, many economists like Joseph Von Nessen with USC are not optimistic.
What does the history show us about tariffs?
The costs tend to outweigh the benefits for the U.S. as a whole, meaning that when we look at the net impact on the economy, the increase in prices that consumers face tend to create more of a drag on the economy than the benefits generate in terms of new investments.
But that's not to say the president isn't without support. Bob Schneider works in the auto industry and backs Trump's tariffs.
All Trump's doing is saying, listen, if you don't take your tariff down, we're going to give you a tariff. And then we're going to bring you up to what you're charging us, we're going to charge you.
You're in favor of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, this particular one.
Britt, who has played a large role in BMW's presence and expansion in the upstate, advocates for negotiations rather than what he calls the gamble of the tariff sledgehammer. President Trump has said, well, we're going to experience some pain, but in the long term, it's going to be better for us. Do you believe that?
No. Oh, yeah, we're going to experience some pain. Absolutely. Yeah. But it's not going to be better for us. Industry is not going to come back. What will happen? This is what my greatest fear is. With a trade war, when we draw the circle around the United States, all those investments from those other countries are going to go to other places. They're not going to come back in the United States.
Now, as for shoppers, the Consumer Sentiment Index, which tracks confidence in the economy, dropped by 7% in the last month and 30% since the end of last year. The University of Michigan, which performs those surveys, says that decline was seen across all age groups, income levels, and political affiliations.